Like many roughnecks, Lee Boothby came from humble beginnings.
He realized early on that his path to any type of success was going to be school. He wanted to go to college and make something of himself.
From an early age, Lee excelled at academics and athletics and considered a career in medicine until he attended a seminar sponsored by Louisiana State University and was introduced to engineering.
In his senior year, Lee attended a 2-day seminar, and he realized that there was a lot of math and science involved, and he thought, I can do this. This would challenge me. And so that is how he made his decision to become a petroleum engineer.
Even in college, Lee's drive was evident to everyone around him.
When Lee was in college, every indication was he was an intense, overachieving student that no one really wanted in their class because he was a curve buster.
If you've ever met somebody that is intense, Lee's about 10 times past that. David Schauber used to say, he says, if I need somebody to be a brain surgeon and they've never done it before, I'd go get Lee because he'll figure out how to do it.
While working his way through LSU, Lee took his first job as a roustabout and then as an intern in the Mid-Con division with Tenneco. And word about this intense, intelligent young man spread like wildfire.
He did very well in Oklahoma, and the extraordinary thing is that within 2 business units, the onshore guys told us offshore guys what a good prospect he was. And it made it even more extraordinary that we were all Aggies and they were promoting an LSU grad for a position that they knew we had.
Lee quickly established himself as a person that any wise oil man would want on his team. And that's why Lloyd Hetrick and Pat Woods hired Lee out of college onto the offshore division of Tenneco, sight unseen.
He's not afraid to go to the field. Matter of fact, he welcomed field assignments and getting his hands dirty.
He's always been highly passionate and intense. And when it's about work, it's all about work. And when it's about play, it's all about play.
Lee was tireless, passionate, and this fire is a part of Lee's personality that to this very day pushes those around him to achieve more and work as a family.
He's 3 or 4 years younger than myself, and so early on I felt motivated to keep up with this guy that I was supposed to be mentoring.
When it got later in the day, and definitely if you had plans that evening, you wanted to steer clear of him because you might end up there till 8 or 9 at night debating and working.
If you do a good job, Lee will praise you, help you, stand behind you. You do a bad job, you better get yourself out of there.
After Tenneco sold in 1988, Lee decided to go back to school to get an MBA from Rice University.
When we moved to Houston, Lee went to school full-time at Rice to get his MBA, and he worked full-time.
He would spend the next decade working at British Gas and Cockrell Oil Corporation.
Lee was working at Cockrell, loved the company, but he was in a rut. He was not being challenged. He wasn't really happy.
Newfield attempted to hire Lee multiple times. Through the years, he had experience both domestically with very large companies, with moderately large companies, and a small independent. And so all that made him a perfect fit for Newfield, which was a growing independent at the time. He continued to turn us down. He wanted to stay in the role he was in, which was a pretty small private company. And we had to come up with, I guess, the correct job to entice Lee to come to Newfield.
Finally, in 1999, Newfield was able to offer Lee the kind of challenge only an authentic roughneck would want to take on.
When we got ready to look for somebody to run Newfield Australia, Bill Snyder and I looked at Lee and we felt like he was the best candidate for that job.
We acquired a field and property in Australia, and we offered him the job to move to Australia with his family and run that business. And that's what Lee was looking for. He was looking for the next step, which was to run a whole business and manage and lead people.
And so 2 weeks later, Lee and his family were on a plane headed to Australia, where he would be the managing director of Newfield's brand new operation based in Perth.
Going to Australia was a major challenge because we'd just acquired a company who did not know us, did not know Newfield, did not know any of the people of Newfield, and he went over there as the sole person who was from Newfield and was going to live there and be with them.
So all that was brand new to all of us, not just Lee, but to all of us. And Lee handled that very well, the transition.
The unprecedented success that Lee saw in uniting Newfield's Australian division was evidence to the team back home that Lee was a man who could turn change into evolution.
I trust Lee because he doesn't hold back, that there's no hidden agenda. There's one goal and it's success, and you have the option to get on the bus or not.
Lee gives you the vision and he leads you charging and tackling and making your way up that hill, and you know you're going to make it up that hill.
And so Lee made his return to Mid-Continent as Vice President, and then as Senior Vice President of Acquisitions and Business Development, where he really started to shake things up.
He's the guy who stepped in someone's office and said, what's the Woodford here? What is that rock unit?
He recognized that the strategy that they had up there wasn't working, and looked at the properties and recognized a shale play. It wasn't something that everybody was on to. And Lee sort of pushed Newfield into that area.
He pushed going into the unconventional world, which was the Woodford Shale and the Arkoma Basin, and had to do a lot of battles with all of us who were still conventional mindset thinkers.
We started drilling wells there. Lee pushed them and pushed the company to drill more wells. And it became almost like a factory. Drill a well, make money, drill a well, make money, drill a well, make money. And Lee was the major factor pushing that.
Lee never wavered in his belief. Lee came up with the term I'm a believer, which comes from the Monkees song I'm a Believer, printed t-shirts, etc., to help infuse that thought process, not only in the Mid-Continent, but in the corporate office.
Then I saw her face, now I'm a believer.
Lee will commonly come up with sayings. His latest is love of the game.
No pain, no gain.
Divide by 2, multiply by 0.5.
You have to pay to play.
You know, I want all the sand out of the bag. I want to see it like it could be.
Dream big, be big, dream big, win big.
This was a time of significant growth for the Mid-Con division and Newfield as a whole, in no small part, thanks to Lee's vision, determination, and pioneering spirit.
In 2008, when the market crashed, we were dominantly a gas player. Lee was in the corporate office at that time, and he led the way towards us changing to an oil-based company. That takes a lot of effort and challenge, and the biggest challenge is to convince the board and the public that while we go through this change, we'll come out the other side a successful company. But we, because of Lee's leadership, believed internally that we would come out a better company, and we have.
In 2009, Lee Boothby became president and CEO of Newfield Exploration, and then was named chairman in 2010.
Everybody has things that they've achieved in their life. And if I had to list one thing that Lee has done well, is he's piloted Newfield from $10 gas market to $1.50 to $2 gas market, from $100 oil to a $40, $50 oil, from primarily offshore to onshore, and I think that's a real achievement, is to be able to take and pilot a company through those type of industry-changing dynamics and yet maintain that company as a strong, viable option.
Lee has inspired many throughout his career and will continue to do so for many years. And like a true roughneck, his work is never done.
He will say he'll slow down, but I don't think he can.
I think there's a lot ahead, and I think Lee will want to be closely associated with that. He really loves the hunt. He loves to go out and find things that no one else has seen and make something out of nothing.
Since 1955, the Chief Roughneck Award has recognized individuals whose accomplishments and character represent the highest ideals of the oil and natural gas industry. And so today, we are proud to honor Lee Boothby with a 2015 Chief Roughneck Award.